Welcome to another episode of Stories with Heath. We appreciate all the support that you guys have shown this effort as we're trying to get it up and running. We appreciate you sharing videos. We hope you continue to do that. Liking and subscribing, all that helps, and we appreciate it. We're humbled by the feedback we're getting, and if you enjoy the videos, if you get something out of them, we'd encourage you to please share them with somebody else. So today's story is a little bit of a traveling story. It's a little bit of a part two of yesterday's story about the quiet traveler. But we had finished up our role in Idaho, and we had accepted positions at another theme park in Missouri. And we were on our way from Idaho to Missouri. And when we got to Idaho, we had moved our residency there to Idaho. But there's a problem with that when you're living full-time in an RV, in that your residency becomes your place of employment. And if for some reason you need to leave there in a hurry, or you get fired or whatever, then it becomes difficult to transfer all of your stuff, because you can't forward mail out of an RV park. And so that presented a set of challenges. So as we researched how to deal with those challenges, it became evident to us that there are 3 states that allowed you to set up a nomadic residence. And South Dakota was one of those, and it was on the way. And there's a lot of things about South Dakota that made it appealing. And so we stopped in Rapid City, and we set up our residency for South Dakota to be our home on paper. And we joined a swanky resort there, so we always had a place to go back to in South Dakota, and that was our plan. Well, as we had done all of the things that we needed to do, and it took about a week, we set out for Missouri right on schedule. And coming up the hill out of Rapid City toward Wall, we blew a transmission in the green Dodge, and that was catastrophic. We had been having transmission troubles the whole way, and that kind of put a damper on the whole thing. But the truck was relatively new to us. The kids had bought it. They'd had it about a year, I guess, and it grenading its transmission was not a good thing at all. So we towed it back into Rapid City. We got there and set back up. That's when we joined the swanky resort. When we were waiting there. Set back up in Rapid City to ride out the wait to get the transmission. It took about a month to get it there and to get it put in. And in that month, the time that we were supposed to be at Missouri came and went. So we were not our fault, but we were no shows on that job, and so they had to fill the positions, and I understand that. I mean, as a person who has to fill positions, I understand that. And so they passed on from us, so that kind of left us high and dry. Our sure thing had grenaded, just like the transmission. And while we were there waiting, we were trying to find things to pass the time, because you really couldn't do anything. I was job hunting and interviewing, and had interviewed with a park in Texas, and it seemed to be another sure thing. And we had planned to head to Texas as soon as everything got straightened out, which is another story for another day. But while we were there waiting, I went in. I said, let's go look at this Harley-Davidson dealership, because we're just a few miles from Sturgis. We had been to Sturgis a couple times before, but this is we decided we'd just kind of hang out. And in part of my plan, my long-term plan, was to one day get a motorcycle. One day. I had wanted one for a long time, and I had never been able to justify it in my mind economically. I'd almost bought one off of Dick Hart one time, but it didn't work out. And so we were trying to figure that out, and trying to work through it. Dick Thrall, not Dick Hart, Dick Thrall. I knew that wasn't right when I said it. Dick Thrall. Anyway, He wouldn't sell it to me, but it's a different story. That's another story for another day. Purple gold wing, it's pretty bike. Anyway, we were there, and I took Selena into this Harley Davidson dealership there at Black Hills Harley. And when we walked in the door, they had big signs about how they were doing a South Dakota MSF class. MSF is the Motorcycle Safety Foundation, but South Dakota calls it something different. But it's essentially a class where you go and you take the class, and if you pass the class, you get your driver's license, you get your endorsement for your motorcycle. It's all trained in there so it was cool. But we walked in there, and we were walking through and got nabbed up by a salesman who was taking us around, and I was having him show me the cheap bikes in there. And there was this little Sportster, 1200 Sportster, had like straight pipes on it. And he said, "You want to hear it?" And Selena says, "Yeah, I'd like to hear it." I'm thinking, man, this thing's gonna be loud. He fired it up in that dealership. Man alive, it was loud inside the building. And he was romping on it, and it was popping. I mean, a 1200 Evo sounds good. And he was just romping on that thing. And the more he twisted that throttle, the more giddy Selena became. She was just laughing and giggling, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, do you want a motorcycle?" And then she started hemming and hawing a little bit. We got motorcycles. That's a different story for a different day. But we went through this MSF class, and so all of us, me and Selena and 4 of the kids, went through this MSF class. And to get our motorcycle endorsements. And so it was an interesting class, but there's something that we learned in that class. It's a moral of this story that ties it all back together a little bit from yesterday. It's target fixation. When you're in that class, they tell you to pay attention to what you do with your eyes. Because as you're riding on that motorcycle, where your eyes go is where your motorcycle will go. And if you're not looking through that turn, you're not going to make it through that turn. And if you become fixated on an obstacle or oncoming traffic and start looking at it, that's exactly where you're going to drive toward. And if you get focused on that dog running out or the ditch or whatever, where your eyes go, that's where you'll go. And it struck me then, and it strikes me today, and where are you looking? We talked a little bit yesterday in last story about how we needed to keep our eyes focused on Christ. But doggone it, if I don't keep looking to where I want to go. Man alive, if I don't keep looking where I've already been. You know, our path here on this earth is not ours. The Bible says that God orders our steps. I'm paraphrasing, so that we can find Him. He puts us in the place He needs us to be. He puts us in at the time that we need to be, so that we can find Him, and so that we can lead others to Him. And, you know, we get hung up on our own identities, on who we think we are. And those identities, they drive us toward particular actions, toward particular positions, toward lifestyles, whatever. But when we focus our attention instead on who we think we are, on who Christ is and who we are in Him, we kind of get a different picture. See, you are not what you do. You're not a sum total of your past. You're something special. You're made in the image of God for a particular purpose, to be able to go out, to bring Him glory, to benefit the lives of people around you, to make a difference in the world. And you make a difference that only you can make. You're special. And not a special kind of special, but special. You are special. And I thank you for for taking the time to listen to this. And I hope and I pray that today you place your eyes on Christ and that you find what it is that he needs you to do today to glorify him. All right, y'all have a good day. I believe in you. I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.